Hello guys, today I'm going to show you 3 of the most common mistakes that you will probably do using copy data activity in Azure Data Factory. In order to save a lot of your time, please keep watching. So the first common mistake is the use of separators. We have the copy data activity here, we have our source dataset, our sync dataset that we are configuring here. So for the source dataset, we specify that the column delimiter is a semicolon and the escape character, the quote character, is a single quote. So let's see what we have when we process this. Let's see an example where we have this file that we want to process from our source, and we want to put it in a blob. Okay, so the name, column, the ID seems pretty easy to process, but what will happen when we have commas, semicolons, other type of delimiters within the cell, right? In Excel we see it that pretty, but when we open it in Notepad, that's the first hint that and the thing that we always need to do, open it in Notepad, this CSV, and then we see what is the backbone, what is the structure. So we see that the column delimiter, it's a semicolon in this case. So if it's a semicolon in this case, and in the cell we also have a semicolon in the description, as we see here, right? This can make a bit Azure Data Factory crazy, right? So let's see what will happen. Let's preview the data and let's see what is happening. So as we expected, of course, because we already see now, as we have a semicolon here after guy, Azure Data Factory interprets that it's the column delimiter, so it puts this value then in parameters, right? And I don't know if you already realized, but we have here some double quotes. So in Excel, we don't have anything, but when we are opening in Notepad as well, we have double quotes. This is to tell you that there is a semicolon here, and it's conflicting with the semicolon that you have as a delimiter in the CSV. So this is another hint that it tells you how to skip this and how to see this in Azure Data Factory, where we should see the parameters column empty for all the rows. And in order to do this, is as simple as change the quote character to double quote. When we preview the data now, we see that this is empty. So first mistake solved. Next one, the second most common mistake, it's when you go to the copy data activity again, we have the source and our sync, but these are not matching. When we see the source here, we see that this is with double quote, with semicolon, and let's imagine that we created this sync, but this is incorrect, as you can see here. We have the column delimiter with a pipe, with a UTF-8, with a backlash, something. Okay, in this case, backlash it's the same, but first row as a header here, it's checked, and in the sync is not. So what will happen later? We are checking our output. I name it as output incorrect, and this is what will happen. This is what we have at the beginning, and this is what we have in the output. How this can happen? So again, always check that the source is always the same, has the same parameters, as long as you maybe want to change something that you really know how to do it. But in the sync, in this case, if we choose the sync correct one, has the same specifications as the source, then is when we will see the file as we expected. So second common mistake solved. And finally, the third and most common mistake, it's I don't know if you realize, but when we are previewing the data, we see these strange characters, right? This is not good for when we want an output like this. This is due to that I chose for specifically this row a Swedish language, and this is not processed, this is not encoded with the same as, for some example, Spanish or English. Normally you choose the default UTF encoding, but for some other cases you may need UTF-16LE, or for this case, as I already made the research for you, it would be choosing this ISO 8859-1. So when we are previewing the data, if you see now it's looking correct. And again, if you have in the source this ISO, then in the sync we will need to change it as well to ISO. Otherwise, we will check, we will see something like this in our output. And it will be these weird characters that we don't know and we don't want to process. So yes, that's actually everything in a nutshell. Thanks for watching.